By the way, as the election certification was taking place yesterday, President-elect Trump accused President Biden of hurting the transition of power. Trump wrote on social media, quote, "Biden is doing everything possible to make the transition as difficult as possible. From lawfare, such as has never been seen before, to costly and ridiculous executive orders on the Green New scam and other money-wasting hoaxes." Shortly before writing that, Trump posted a photo of the crowd at the Ellipse 4 years ago, right before a mob of his supporters would go on to storm the Capitol. And Jonathan Lemire, talk about hurting the transition. That picture is quite something.
Yeah, and we all, of course, know that President Trump didn't give then incoming President-elect Biden any transition at all.
Right.
Because of his efforts to undermine the election, did not cooperate. The Biden team had to really play catch up there, also impacted by the pandemic. The Biden team, other Trump aides have said to me and to others in last weeks have been nothing but professional in terms of turning this over. We've heard President Biden has bit his tongue a number of times. We heard from the president in an op-ed over the weekend saying that though, yes, January 6th should, of course, be remembered. He's calling for an annual commemoration. He knows that American democracy has to be honored. The results have to be accepted. Donald Trump won. He's going to meet with Donald Trump the morning of the 20th and will attend his inauguration. And what he's doing now is yes, there's still some executive orders. They're still trying to pass them to get some things done, to codify some of his accomplishments, as any president would do. That's not Claire McCaskill undermining a transition. That is securing a legacy, to be sure. And the West Wing is very mindful of President Biden's legacy. But it's also simply trying to codify accomplishments, which is hardly a unique thing for an outgoing president. But instead, we have Donald Trump seemingly unable to do what Jerry Baker has advised, which is to be a president of all people. And we should note, every chance Donald Trump has had the opportunity to choose division or unity. He's chosen division in the past. Here he is highlighting the mob on January 6th, attacking the outgoing president. Over the weekend, screening a documentary about the 2020 election, which he still believes was rigged. He still will not concede. It seems to me, as Democrats honor their democracy, they certify his election win. Donald Trump still picking division.
Yeah, and there's a couple of things that come to mind on this. Joe is right that the numbers in the United States of America are good. And one of the problems we have is not only are there a huge swath of Americans that aren't following the news, they don't get an international perspective. They don't realize what great shape we're in compared to the rest of the world. The other thing that's going on in the rest of the world that hasn't been talked about enough is the anti-incumbency movement. It doesn't matter whether you are on the right in UK or on the left in Canada. If you are an incumbent right now, the hangover from COVID, especially as it relates to migrants and as it relates to inflation, has caused an anti-incumbency mood worldwide. That is the hole that Kamala Harris was trying to dig out of. She did a remarkable job in a short period of time, but at the end of the day, there was a swath of Americans that believed that they would be better off, that those eggs that Barnacle referred to would be cheaper under Donald Trump. Now, he's going to be an incumbent in about 10 minutes, and he's going to be expected to bring those prices down. And with the 1-2 punch of debt and tariffs, that's a tall order for him, to say nothing of the fact that he's got a margin in the House of Representatives that's so tiny that when it's time to fund the government in March, they will not be able to fund the government without Democratic votes. So that's when the Democrats have to stress how important it is that we stay focused on people who can't afford to buy their groceries.
And remember, Donald Trump's been managing expectations even on that in that Time Person of the Year interview. He said, actually, it's going to be tough to get those prices down right away, but that he'd work on it.